Everybody. We just finished recording one of our very popular Q&A sessions where I ask my guides questions, but there's a special element to this session today. Our Bev is going through a family issue with a death in the family that really surprised her, and yet she showed up for us today anyway. And I would love for you to just watch the whole episode and see how just being with you and with us and immersed in love really changes things for all of us. I hope you enjoy the show. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to one of our favorite ways to spend our time with you. My team and I, both earthly team and spirit team, are here to answer questions that those of you in our Awake and Wake community have submitted for our Messages of Hope podcast. Before I get started, some of you may recognize a new backdrop. I'm in my new office in my summer home in Idaho, and this is a picture I picked up in the gift shop of Janet Nohavic's church. Janet was my original mentor in mediumship, and I just love this because butterflies are the sign that my stepdaughter Susan sent me initially from across the veil that absolutely let me know there's something going on here. There's more to this world than just this earthly reality. And I just did my very first reading with this backdrop an hour ago, and in the reading, my client's daughter across the veil said, I send them butterflies just like that. And in fact, it was a mother and daughter on the screen. The daughter said, just in the last day or two, a butterfly came up and landed on my hand and stayed there. So that's the beautiful sign. Butterflies don't just do that, do they? No. We know spirit is with us, and I want to bring my team on here. And the order that I see them, we have Stephanie, Bev, and Lynette, and they'll be asking questions as guided by their guides, and I will, as always, tune into Sanaya, my team of guides, for the best possible answers. So thanks, everybody, for being here. Stephanie, you want to start off with the first question?
I would love to. This one struck me. Why do our bodies age and get weak and frail? Is this because our human expectations, or is it a divine design?
The latter is what the guides say, that it is the perfect design that you see replicated in nature all around you. I'm channeling them as I say this, and they're drawing my attention outside to a tree. And we spent last fall in this beautiful neighborhood, and the tree's leaves turned the most glorious orange color. And we were taking pictures and couldn't believe how beautiful they were. And then, of course, a few weeks later, the trees were bare. And that's just this cycle of life. And the trees age, everything ages, everything goes through cycles. And it's not punishment, but the aging process, the guides just now say, is also a way to acquire wisdom. So hopefully, through our trials, through our watching our bodies age, we get a little wisdom. I know I just watched the video that Alex Ferarri put online, Next Level Soul. I watched it yesterday, and I'll just be upfront with all of you here. I watched it and said, oh my God, Zoom takes out all the wrinkles. Alex Ferrari's studio put them all back. And all I could do was look at the wrinkles and my aging face and think some people who only see me on Zoom will say, whoa, what happened to Suzanne overnight? And I had this beautiful lesson that, I realized our human side says people won't love me if I'm older. And that's our human stuff. And it's part of the lessons, isn't it? So it's not punishment. It's a part of a divine process. And knowing that we go round and round again, we can come to terms with the fact that the body will disappear, but we will not. Our soul essence will always be here. Wrinkles or not, the soul never changes. Long answer.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you. Bev, how about a question?
Okay, this is a question about masculine and feminine energies. How do we know if they are out of balance for us? And what do we do if we need to bring them back in balance?
That's a great question. There is a knowing within us direct knowing is the definition of intuition. So we all intuitively can feel the two aspects of our energy, masculine, feminine. I'm reminded of one time when I taught my Making the Connection level 1 class, and we were talking about masculine energy and feminine energy. And a man in the back of the room raised his hand and he said, well, what does feminine energy feel like? And I stopped and I didn't answer the question. I said, well, what do you think it feels like? And he had no answer. And I waited, and he finally came up with a few things that are based on stereotypes, but stereotypes exist for a reason. So we have both aspects in us all the time, all of us. And some of us express more of those aspects in our daily life. Certainly with my 20 years in the military, I really expressed a lot of the masculine energy. And I'm working really hard now to, in fact, this morning I met a female guide that I didn't know I had. And she was very flowy and gave me a name and told me she was here to help me express even more of that feminine energy. And I was thrilled. So all of you can go into the silence, close your eyes, and imagine feminine energy flowing in from the earth. Yeah, Steph's doing it now. So go ahead and do it with me. Just know that that feminine energy is always embodying you, flowing in from the earth. Get a feel for, if you could see that flow or really feel it, how strongly would it be flowing? And now imagine masculine energy flowing down from the heavens, down through the top of you into the center of you. Imagine how that would look, what it feels like. Now really tune in and see. Can you sense two distinct flows? It's a subtle thing, but there is a part of you that knows right now which is stronger. So just ask yourself, your higher self, which is flowing stronger in this moment? And hopefully you'll get a sense of that. And if one is stronger, then literally with your intention, turn up the other one and set the intention that both flow in equal balance. And often when you do this practice, you instantly feel more centered, more balanced. So everybody just joining me in that. Picture now this beautiful flow of energy in equal measure flowing through you. There you go. Pretty simple.
Well, that was pretty delicious. Yay.
I like that. Delicious. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. As someone who's always been a mannish girl, it was kind of cool to feel that mix. Yeah.
Oh, I would have thought you were more of a girly girl.
I don't know. My husband always used to say, I love it that you can lift heavy things.
Everything. Yeah.
I think it's that. It's more like, I'm independent and whatever. But okay. Yay. So are we ready for another one?
We are. And then I want to discuss something else. Okay.
My question, this is from Sherry, and it came on a post that we did today on Facebook, which was asking for questions. And I think we'll maybe do that going forward. If you all have questions in the meantime, you are welcome to send them in via the website, admin@SuzanneGiesemann.com, and they will end up on the spreadsheet for future podcasts. So this one is from Sherry. My question is, how do you know for a fact that every person can connect with our guides, angels, loved ones on a spiritual level, when I believe you said that you were told by your team, this is the life you chose beforehand, and you would awaken on this particular journey you're living today? I think they're talking about your team, Sanaya. I find myself constantly thinking, talking, reaching out to my guides to where I'm thinking it's an unhealthy obsession to my mental health.
That's like 3 parts right there. The first, help me out here. First part is, how do I know that we can all connect? Because once you connect with the soul, which I and every one of my beautiful team here has done in meditation, that part of us that never changes, but it's always here, the part that expresses itself through you when you feel connected with nature, with other people, the soul aspect of you is your true nature. And that's the part that we use to connect with all others. We are a soul now. We have a body. We're not a body that has a soul. So simply knowing that the soul is always connected to all that is, it's apparent that we can all do this because we all are souls. It is part two, my calling to be a medium, and that's why I spend many hours each day focused on this kind of work. If it's not your calling, then you perhaps will focus solely on connecting with your own loved ones and guides in meditation, and all can learn to do that. The third part there, if you feel it's an obsession, ask yourself, is it a good obsession? Because I know this is my obsession, and I'm aware when it interferes with day-to-day activities and when it might detract from the attention that I give to my husband and my dogs or other people. Then that's not a good obsession. So obsession is not necessarily a bad thing. If it's detracting you from paying attention to your earthly lessons and doing things that are in your best interest in your human role, then it's a not so good obsession. And you would simply, through awareness and an intention with your guides, say, let's put some boundaries on this for the greatest good. So that's that.
Okay, thank you. That's good.
So I want to acknowledge, now that we're into this now, Bev is a bit mellow today. Bev, why don't you share with everybody what you're going through this week, and we'll all be able to send you lots of loving energy, and I really appreciate that here you are sharing with us in the midst of a family. I don't want to call it a tragedy, a family milestone. How's that?
Right. The short version is my brother passed away very unexpectedly. And well, we don't even know exactly what day, but we learned of it on Sunday. He was at a favorite hunting camp of his, and he loved being there. And when he didn't show up for Father's Day celebration, his children called him and he didn't answer, and that led to a wellness check, and he was found deceased. So needless to say, it's been quite a shock for the whole family that this man, who was, we thought, perfectly healthy and at his hunting camp and being active, is now on the other side. It's been a shock. It seems surreal, as you can imagine. But this is when I most appreciate the what I call my toolbox from the awakened way, and my human side goes through all the agony and the sorrow and the grief and wondering why and what happened, and tending to details that have to be done now. But I the whole time I have the knowing that my brother is absolutely fine. In fact, he'd be saying, do your Q&A. Maybe I'll help you from the other side. So, you know, I know all is well, and I can rise above it. So that is so important, especially at times like this.
Absolutely. This is why you're here with us now, because, you know, the human side says, oh, Bev, we don't want to impose on you. We want you to have your time to grieve and to deal with your family. But we asked you, what do you want to do? And you said you wanted to be part of this, but you didn't want to drag the energy down. And we all knew that you wouldn't possibly drag the energy down, and that you could actually model for other people the different ways we can flow with life circumstances and deal with it. So we just send you so much love, and it's a shock for sure. And you're up there in the area where he lived. So the beautiful part is you're able to give his family support and be right there instead of in Florida where you normally would have been. So that's a blessing.
That's true. Normally I would not be here right now in New York, and we wonder how things are orchestrated totally beyond our understanding.
Okay, well, I look forward to hearing from him and doing a reading for you. We'll give him some time to adjust and learn to communicate without the voice box, right? All right. Well, thank you for joining us here today. And so we didn't want to seem disrespectful, and we get a little silly on this program and we laugh sometimes, and that's all part of life too. So understand that we're honoring Bev by just sharing with her in her journey today, but also appreciating that she can be here and share with all of you that she's flowing, right, Bev? Thank you. Okay. Lynette, why don't you find a perfect question from your list to follow that? And
I will, but while I'm looking through my list, I would like to say that just watching Bev as you're talking, I'm so touched by the fact that the suddenness of this is kind of an echo of your husband's death, so unexpected, out of the blue. And I'm also reminded of that. I wish I could remember who it was, but it was some Buddhist teacher who was leaving a nursing home where his father had passed. And he said, "My father has died and I am crying, and yet there is peace in my heart." And it's both things, it's the sadness over the loss and also the knowing, and those things, that is the flow. It's the thing we don't want and the things that we want. And it just makes a huge difference to me. I do have a perfect question. This is from Michelle. I've heard various interpretations about this. When a soul crosses over and it was unexpected, are they at peace with this? If his or her life was just taking off and they were in a good place and they left, is there peace with that? Or do they sometimes still wish to be here?
Well, this is where we have the perfect chance to make the distinction between our human awareness and our soul's awareness. The soul is the one that makes the decision to cross, that is part of the process of leaving the body. The soul is not surprised. The soul knows everything that's happening. The soul is not shocked. The soul is perfectly fine. Surprise passings happen when the soul's awareness doesn't filter through to the human aspect. So there may be a part of the soul that is still invested in the human story, and that little adjustment has to be made, but the soul is always aware and fine, whole and complete. So Bev, in the case of your brother, his story, it's kind of like, I'm reminded of a dog that shakes off the water when it gets wet. It just kind of has to go, oh, wait a second. I realize now, without the body, I've always been this soul. Oh my gosh. And yet now I'm totally aware of being a soul and the role. And he probably looked down at his body and thought, oh, everybody's going to be surprised, but what a place to pass in my favorite place on earth, And of course, there would be awareness of his family and concern, but in a soul's way of knowing with compassion that the family is going to be shocked and the family is going to be surprised. But just this soul's awareness enveloping all that says, all is well. Everyone will be fine. This is how we learn.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you for that question, and Michelle as well. Stephanie, you got a...
Yeah, I do. And that was beautiful, by the way. So this one is from Kim. And it struck me because when Kate passed, I did have to start taking an antidepressant to help with that loss. And this is, can people who take antidepressants connect to the higher realms in the same way that those who don't need to take medication can?
My guides twitching my lips say absolutely. And for those of you that didn't see the prior podcast with Stephanie, Kate is her daughter across the veil. And the guides say right now there is no shame in taking medication to help you regain balance, but always testing moment by moment, day by day, how long those are needed. And be sure that one watches one's thoughts, because they do shape your outcome. Are the thoughts that you will always need them would keep you always needing them. The thoughts that they would get in the way of your connection will get in the way of your connection. So tell yourself that once your body adjusts to a new way of being, then they're showing me that there will be a way you connect while you're on medication. It'll be the same method, but a different energetic pattern as if you weren't on the medicine. So you're going to be radiating a specific frequency, medicated and not medicated. And there's an adjustment to match the frequencies you're trying to match based on what you are radiating. This is not something the person on the medicine needs to do or know how to do. Simply set the intention that you're going to radiate the perfect vibration and send your love no matter what to those in the spirit world. And that's what makes the connection happen. So the body will adjust to what you're using to bring it into balance. That's the purpose of antidepressants, right? To come back into balance. Once you're in a balanced state, now connect and know that the cells of your body, your neural pathways are all doing their thing to work together to help you connect. And then when you go off the medication, there would be another period of adjustment, but you'd be connecting from a different frequency. Wow, that's interesting.
That's beautiful, Suzanne. I think it's so helpful that you pointed out that it's nothing you have to do differently. It's just a different energetic pattern. So that's wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, the guides. Okay. Bev, you want to ask a question?
Sure. This one asks, do we make new friends in spirit, or do we just hang out with the people we knew in life?
Oh, okay. And Spirit says, in spirit, you are friends already with everyone. There are no new friends or old friends. There are only friends, but they understand what we're talking about. And let me see if they're trying to frame this for me. They say that we agreed to take on new roles that we'll play here. That it's different there. There's just an instant knowing of different souls across the veil. And as you would understand making friends, yes, that does happen. You are drawn to different fields of light across the veil, and there is interaction. So in this way, yes, you would understand them as friends. That's a little convoluted, but I hope it makes sense.
Thank you.
I'm just reminded of the fact that, like, you may have a sibling here and you kind of push each other's buttons, and one's the brother and one's the sister, and then the next time around you're going to trade roles. And so the roles here in human form are always changing, but what they're really trying to show us, bottom line, is across the veil, it's just light beings just flowing and interacting.
It's so interesting to think about. I guess I'm next. Am I next?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Because I remember when you channeled Brenda 2 days after her death, that's Suzanne's spirit guide. Patty and I, who are friends here, asked if our husbands had met on the other side, and yes, indeed. And they greeted Brenda when she went because of the friendships and the connections that we made here, which I thought was so cool. Okay.
Well, let me tell you that the reading that I put online, Actual Evidence of the Afterlife, with Patty and Dave's daughter, Lauren, she made friends with Carly across the veil. And the connection that they know each other because people here know each other. So as we're meeting people here, loved ones in spirit are also expanding their acquaintances across the veil. And as I started this reading this morning, I had not yet tuned in, and yet I sensed a daughter because I felt Lauren come in and say, she's one of us, she's with us. Wow. And then daughter across the veil. So yeah, a network of friends. But I believe that the reason that the answer was a bit convoluted is spirit is always trying to get us to see from the wholeness of the soul that knows no differentiation, and the fact that in our human lives and stories, we make friends and have relationships. But this is why it's so possible for girls across the veil, and Katie's probably met up with them as well. You know, when we're connected here, now we expand the circle across the veil. Cool.
It's so cool to think about. This is from Upma. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. UPMA. Dear Suzanne and Sanaya, please advise. If none of my clairs are open and I am unable to receive the message in any way, will my questions still reach my guides and my heavenly team? Should I just go ahead and have that one-sided communication?
Oh, without a doubt. And when she talks about clairs being open, those are the clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. They're called the clairs. They're the ways we sense without the body. We sense through the soul. And the soul, again, always being whole and complete, is always communicating, but may not always get through to the body awareness through our bodily senses. It's there in that intuition, the direct knowing of us. So what do you know? What do you feel in your heart when you ask those questions? That's a question for all of you. Definitely ask the questions. The answer already exists at the same time you ask the question. So how about taking the focus off? I'm not hearing anything. I'm not seeing anything. What do you know? What just arises in awareness? The answer comes immediately. Learn to trust that.
Thank you.
Let's just keep going round robin here, Stephanie.
Okay. All right. Now that psychedelic drugs are being utilized again in research and therapy, I am curious about how they work from the guide's perspective and whether they see it as a positive tool for humanity to be using.
They show me immediately as that you asked that question, definitely a positive tool, but they show me a kid lighting a match. So watch, don't play with fire. They say that it absolutely is a tool to be used with care, with training, they don't want me to use the word caution, but I'm saying it with the understanding that there's another word that wouldn't have fear with it. So with care, that's it. To be used with care, but with supervision, they say. Trained supervisors. And the reason they work, the guides are saying, is because it bypasses some of the brain's filters and utilizes different neural pathways. There's a term again that allow for expanded awareness that helps the user have experiences that lead to healing. Okay, there's so much talk about the use of psychedelics and now, and I haven't had anybody on the show to talk about it because I personally do not want to appear to promote it in any way, because I have no personal experience with it, and because my path is to teach us all that we can expand our consciousness and bypass the brain's filters in a safe, slow, measured, controllable way through meditation, contemplation, practices of presence. So that's my path, and that's what I will continue to promote. Everybody else, follow your heart and that direct knowing of your pathway to expanding consciousness.
Got it. Got it. Very helpful.
Good. Miss Bev.
Okay, ready. Once we have a lifetime as a medium, do we always reincarnate with this ability?
My guides just showed me this. A curtain comes down from lifetime to lifetime, and it's part of the human path to raise the curtain again and to open it again. And so that if you've already gotten that, that's funny. If you've already gotten that check in the block, yep, communicated with spirits, there may be another way to come to know yourself as love, to come to know yourself as a soul, which does not include spirit communication. However, they say, because the path of mediumship, whether you're a professional medium or not, most people in the awakened way through this path know that we are souls. That really expands our consciousness. And so you get the check in the block for higher vibration to begin with, and you will come back at a higher vibration, more accepting of others, more open to others, you will be able to raise the curtain, clear the veil much more easily. And that would lead to an opening to connection, but you might not need to be a medium. I feel like I'm rambling. I hope that answered that succinctly enough.
The idea of checking the boxes makes me think of winning our Girl Scout merit badges. Okay, I was a man, I was a woman, I don't know, whatever. Okay, are we ready for another one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is from Melinda. I want to ask Sanaya if there is ever an end game, so to speak, a time when everything is at peace and we have heaven on earth, where we have learned all the lessons and can relish the beauty of all that is.
And the guys say, and that moment is now. It's now and now and now. And it is simply a moment of a matter of clearing the clouds that are hiding heaven from your awareness. There is never, in human terms, there is not in human terms an end game, for this is a reality beyond time. So in other words, it's two completely separate ways of being. We right now can shift our focus and experience heaven in moments that sometimes last in human terms just a little bit longer, when we just know all is well. That's what's carrying Bev through. She's had those moments in meditation of knowing there is more and that her brother is eternal, right, Bev? Yeah. And
Yes.
yet then you step back into the human side and you can sometimes say, I just wish this were over. I wish I didn't have to go through this. And that's when heaven then gets clouded over with the human thoughts. So that's why we humans go round and round for the experience of, the guys just said, hide and seek. It's like a game of hide and seek. Heaven is hidden. And when we find it, it's so beautiful. And I got the goosebumps because that moment of finding it and that it's right here, that is the end and the beginning at the same time. And that's peace. Yeah.
That's
cool.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Back to you, Stephanie.
Wow, that answer just knocked me over. I would like to ask you a question that occurred to me as you were answering that. If that's okay, because I do think there would be others that would have the same question as they watch the video. I noticed that you went directly into channeling for some portions of that answer, and then other portions you didn't. Why does that occur? Is there something that they want to say word for word, or?
Yeah, what's happening is I am trying my best to balance pure channeling and talking with all of you. And they require different brainwave states. I could close my eyes and they would willingly give you a perfect answer without, they say nearly perfect in human terms, without interruption. And they say, and we will demonstrate that in a moment, and I can do it with eyes open. That requires a little bit more focus on my part so that I'm not distracted by seeing you on the screen and what's around me here. And then when I just speak for them, answering for them without channeling, that's much easier because I'm listening and hearing and translating. And that's what happens in a reading. We talk to the loved ones and we're the medium, the one in between, the intermediary. So yeah, it's a flowing back and forth between pure channeling, little in the middle, and then just Suzanne talking. And it all depends on what intention I set and how they guide me. So they'll let me know at what point I can. Well, I'll just close my eyes at some point and they'll give you a straight channeled answer.
Yeah.
I can do it with eyes open. Maybe we'll do that later too. But it's just different levels of challenge for me. How's that? But as guided by them. Great question.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. That requires water. Bev, how about a question?
Ready? Okay. What if through time many souls completed their lessons or they chose not to return to Earth? Are new souls then created? Or is there a set number of souls from the beginning and that's it?
Nope, this is not the one they want me to channel that one for. I was checking. There, let's just say there is really only one soul, one light, its source. There's one soul. And now we partition it like the disco ball into billions of souls that then become their own disco ball and partition itself into many human incarnations. And they come and they go and they create and they dissolve and they all dissolve back into the one soul. And it's just this ongoing flow. And so, yes, if you want to call that a new soul, a new creation, but the one soul is not old or new, it just is. And it's kicking out new experiences all the time, new compartmented energy fields of the one field all the time. Isn't that cool? So we all share one soul, every one of us, and that's called love. Nice. Yeah. Okay, good question.
Okay, one more.
Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Okay. This is sort of a combination because several people asked on that Facebook post today. It's been 6 weeks. I'm not connecting with Bless Me. I've been doing this for a long time. Nothing is happening. And this is from, I'm sorry, I don't know who, because I didn't write it down. I was watching Suzanne and Alex on Next Level Soul last night talking about meditation. They both experience visions and communications of various degrees with angels and guides. They also said, anyone can do this if they are of a certain frequency. I've been meditating for 10 years, and I believe I have a very good frequency or vibration. My question is, when I meditate, I go easily into my heart space. It's very calm and peaceful. I observe myself and my thoughts, but I don't get downloads, visions, or audio. I don't get very many thoughts at all. Truly, it's a void. I do sometimes see colors, and my left ear vibrates when I reach a state, but I have never connected with guides, angels, or loved ones. And I do ask often, and I believe they are with me. Any advice?
Okay, that one I definitely have to ask the guides for this. So will you answer this for everybody? For some reason, they don't want me to channel that answer either. So we're going to just have to keep going till they channel. Oh, they say, who is in charge here? I love that. You are. Okay. All right. The advice that I'm hearing is, of course, there's absolutely nothing wrong. And it's lovely that you're going to that heart space. That is the goal, to find the peace and the sense of connection through the heart that all of us share. The guidance would be to stay for a while and have a practice solely to connect with one guide and stay with that. I would like to connect with my main spirit guide, for example, and spend no more than 5 to 10 minutes a day and ask for that guide to show itself to you, to make its presence known to you in a way that is beyond simply feeling something in the heart. Be that a being, a sense of presence, a touch. We may have certain expectations that we're going to have a full-blown person show up in front of me. I've never had that with my guides, but there is absolutely a sense of presence. So that focus on, this is my very clear intention, it's specific, and that's what I'm going to hold the focus on achieving. Do that repeatedly until you have some other experience than you've had to date now that may be beyond what you expected or not what you expected, but you will know it's that guide. So the singular focus on one being until you sense that being, no matter how long it takes. But I say only for 10 minutes max, so that you leave time for that beautiful flow and you don't make it all about that, so that you still experience that heart space, which is what it's really all about. And if you watch that interview on Next Level Soul with me and with Alex, you do notice that we had a big discussion that this did not happen overnight to me either. It didn't take 10 years, but now that you have a tool of maintaining a single-minded focus on one being that may show up in a way you don't expect or are assuming, we'll see how that goes for you. Okay, very good. All right.
Could I add one little thing?
Of course.
Because I tortured myself for years over comparing myself to other people and their experiences. And I felt like mine were lacking or not the same or not as good or whatever. And when I learned to take what comes to me in meditation, to take my own experiences of synchronicities and signs and wonders out in the world, and to quit thinking I should have something different, or it should come to me in a different way, or looking at someone else's experience and thinking, why not me? Instead, celebrating and experiencing gratitude for what I got. It just changed everything. It changed everything. It took me from that place of almost like a clenched kind of craving into like this open-handed, whoo, okay, thank you. Let's do it again. Send me this, let me feel that thing in my left elbow that lets me know my guide is present. It was just like a freeing up instead of feeling a longing that I wasn't getting something. I mean, we're always already connected. We're already connected. We just we're not aware of it. We want that awareness, and we can't not be connected. I mean, that's my understanding. So it's just, I think we're really hard on ourselves. That's it.
A beautiful point. And to add to that, I do the monthly connection webinars. And in the last one I did, they're open to everybody. You can find out on my events page about the next one. In this last session, we talked about the difference between wanting and having, two different feelings. And what you just said feels to me like you went from, I've got to have it, I want it, I'm comparing, to that feeling of, okay, freedom comes with stopping the wanting and needing. So really good point for the previous question. Watch if you have that feeling, I have to have this, I don't have it, I need it, I want it, versus I already have a beautiful heart connection. Let's see what gets added to that. And then there's no clenching, no desire.
Yeah,
nice.
I love that. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. Stephanie.
Right, here we go. This one is from Jacqueline. I would like to know where Sanaya is and what they are doing when they are not speaking through Suzanne to us.
Okay. Oh, okay. So they just twitched my lip and took my breath away. I'll just close my eyes and see what they have to say. Oh. We are always right here, wherever all of you are. Yes, of course, she has what she calls her own team of guides, as do all of you. Where are we? We could not be anywhere but here, in awareness. Yes, we know ourselves as beings of light, fields of information and energy that flow and merge with all that is. And so we dance and play and flow, and yet we get together and scheme about the best way to get through to all of you and get you to understand that you can never possibly be alone. And so we, at this level, are no longer doing the human earthly things that you would understand, such as building buildings and reading books. No, we are simply devising new ways to help you understand through experience that all of you are also the light in expression. We hope this has satisfied your curiosity about pure channeling. And now we will go back to allowing the channel to open her eyes.
Yay.
Okay. Cool. Yay. Nice.
Wonderful.
Bev, I'm giving you such a hug.
Thank you. I feel it. Here's a question about evolution on the other side. Do guides and angels continue to evolve?
Oh, yes. And this is what the guides were just talking about. As I listened to them, they were showing me, I have a book coming out in October called Mediumship, and it has a download about the afterlife in it, and how we, all of us, as the light, expand to higher realms, and we no longer need to do earthly things, and then we no longer need to even think of taking on specific form, which is why I don't see my guides, because they don't want me to picture them as human-like in form, but rather beings of light, which all of us are. So yes, the more expanded they get, the less form they take on, and the more people they can influence, the roles change. Did that answer the question? I'm not even sure anymore. I'm still a little spacey.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay. That was your little puppy Gracie, who we just saw a minute ago, kind of walk behind you. Have you noticed, is she picking up on your energy in the last few days?
I haven't noticed that, no. But there's been so many people in and out and things going on. I think she's more in a state of confusion. What's happening?
But I'm sure a big comfort to you.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Why don't we do one more round each? How's that sound? We'll do Lynette, Stephanie, and Bev. Okay.
The first question is, does Suzanne have a course or maybe a video on connecting with your guides? And if you answer that as yes, because I don't know, I will link it in the comments.
Well, certainly on my online courses, Personal Mediumship Plus and Making the Connection Level 1, get into connecting with guides. The Personal Mediumship Plus is for those who really don't intend to be a medium. Making the Connection Level 1 is much more oriented towards those who want to be mediums, but anybody can enjoy the tools, and the same tools we use to connect with loved ones across the veil, we can use to connect with our guides. And then I have a Hemi-Sync recording called Getting to Know Your Guides, which is really excellent. Wonderful practice that I know, Lynette, you've had some good experiences.
Yeah, that just blew me away the first time I did it, because it asks everyone to step out of your energy field. And I used to say, I don't feel energy. But the truth is, I feel all the energy all the time. So when they step back, it's like, whew, it's like a deflated balloon. And then you have everyone step forward one at a time. And it was the coolest thing. And the really neat thing about that meditation is you can also do it by just changing the words as you're speaking, and it becomes, you can do it with your loved ones. So then, oh, that's my husband's feeling. That's my best friend's feeling, that it's very cool. The remaining part of that question was, can one be in constant contact with their guides without going into an official mediumship experience or meditation even? Yeah.
I hope I modeled that. Absolutely. But the communication is ongoing. We just have to, you just shift your focus. They're right here. And yet we don't maintain it 100% of the time. Just like if you're in a room if you're in the house with your whole family, you're not focused on everybody that's around you until you need them. Then you just turn, you say, hey, to whoever is there. It's that kind of a connection. We all can get to that point. And it's beautiful. And it's just so wonderful to have that sense of connection and love around you, to know that you're not alone. And I just love it. And I hope that for everybody. By the way, I hope everybody knows about the Awaken Way app. The same guides that have been talking to us today and sharing their answers provide daily messages that are free on this free, no strings attached app. Go to smartphones or any, Android or iPhone, look up Awaken Way. Lynette's taking a swig of her drink, and there's the logo that's on the app. Look for that.
Yeah.
Right on cue, Lynette.
Not on purpose.
All right. Stephanie, got one?
All right. Yes. This is from Jill. Is it possible for someone to channel a message from across the veil without intentionally trying or even realizing that's what they are doing? I had an experience a few years ago. I think this happened to me.
Yes. And this brings us to the awareness that not all of our thoughts come from our own energy field. Your mind is porous and it is interacting and flowing. Your mind is this energy field that is not dependent on the body. And so interacting with others and those in the higher realms can put thoughts in your mind, and words come out of your mouth and you say, where did that come from? Why did I say that? And it's from higher consciousness. So if spirit sees an opportunity for you to get a message to someone and it comes out of your mouth and it's exactly what somebody needed to hear, give them credit.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yay.
Perfect.
One last question.
Okay. Does a soul choose to be adopted and pick their family before being born, or is it just random free will choices what family they are adopted into.
The Spirit says right now that family is one of the most important ways that we learn, through relationships at a very close and intimate level. So yes, this is one, what is the word? Case in which this is very much planned out, that spirits have chosen those adoptive parents in advance. There's an absolute thumbs up to that. Okay, good ones. Great questions today. I really appreciate the way my wonderful team here has put these together and spent the time, and all of you who've contributed them. I want to acknowledge Jayesh and Valerie on our team. We talked about this, bringing Valerie on or Jayesh on to help field questions, and it would just get a little crowded on here. So it's through no lack of love that I don't have everybody on the screen, but this is just a more manageable group at this time. So any final words, Lynette, anything you want to end with today? And I'll let everybody say something.
I just think that there's, I don't know, the way these questions come in and the interactions of people on the post that I made on Facebook, it just gives me such a sense of how beautiful this community is that follows the Awakened Way teachings, and how much of a support it just warms my heart. I think we're just so fortunate to have this. And thank you, Suzanne, for making it happen.
Well, it doesn't happen by just me. It's a team effort here and across the veil, and we just love you all. And it really is that sense of community and love. Thank you. Stephanie, any comments?
Yeah. Speaking of warm-heartedness, I just want to thank Bev for being on today. I know she has a tremendous life issue that we deal with, and a loved one who has transitioned. So Bev, I really appreciate you being on, because this life can be a roller coaster. And thank you for being on here and showing, both your human and your soul side. Thank you.
Speaking of modeling, modeling the serenity and also, I heard in an interview recently, somebody said, once you get on this path, you no longer grieve. And I really disagree with that. Big time. Our human side grieves. And that
for
is
sure.
okay. Yeah. And and that is perfectly okay. But yet our souls, as Lynette knows from her mother across the veil, are always rejoicing. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Bev, any final comments for?
I have such gratitude right now. This is always such a loving, high energy hour, and I always feel it. But I have to say, the difference between an hour ago and how I feel right now is just amazing. And that's part of the toolbox, to surround yourself with loving energy and loving people. So with gratitude.
Perfect. Well, we're grateful for you in our lives, and we're grateful this whole community and all of us are here for you and for each other. That is what it's all about, relationship. All right. Thank you, team. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We love doing these shows for you and with you, and we'll see you in the next episode. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and share this with other people if you feel it will help them. Have a great week.